Aloha all. I thought that I would come on and share just some of the unbelievable potent transmissions that are coming through in the energies post eclipse, but really it's been going on for weeks now. And I normally talk about like specific gene keys. And I feel like today I just want to speak as a whole about the energies that seem to be so incredibly massive and alive right now. Like I guess people do energy reports. It's not, I feel like it feels more like a flood right now, a flood of remembering who and what we are in the most pristine way. And there'll be people at different places on their journey. And so there's no judgment about where you are and what you're experiencing, but rather to be present with what is alive for you, what's coming up, and beginning to notice what is being asked of you to face, what is being asked to be let go of, where are you being asked to maybe step into the unknown. When we're able to orient ourselves to the direction that we're being asked to begin to take a step in, to take the initiative, to move in a certain direction, even when it seems not logical, but yet there's this pulling. It's almost like, for me, it's like it's a pulling of my spirit. And because I've listened to it so many times now, I recognize it. I recognize when my spirit is asking me to go into a direction that may be opposite of what my intellect would do, or my personality, or that identified part of me that wants something different, or a different outcome, or a different way to move, or that has an expectation around something that I want. And I mean, one of the fundamental things that I have been doing that I feel like has been really alive in the collective field is really letting go of your attachment to all the things that you think that you need and you want. I've spoken about this before, but there is almost this, it's almost as if you don't let go, it's going to be ripped away. And what I'm recognizing is the more that goes, the more non-attachment that I have, the freer I am becoming. And when there is nothing to hold on to, there is immense freedom in that. And that can feel extremely scary. All of these touch points that you have for feeling secure, you're being asked to trust yourself on an extremely deep level. And that's challenging. It's meant to be challenging. It's meant to be this initiatory journey of trust and faith. And, I can give you an example of this that has recently come to bear for me. And that is my mother has become ill, and I could feel the pull that I will have to go back to the place where I was born and raised. And it's not a place that I like, nor do I feel comfortable in that place. And there's a recognition that it confronts me with a lot of my past childhood traumas, if you will, memories, and that leaves me feeling uncomfortable. And yet I could feel over the last couple months that there was going to be a moment that I was going to have to step fully into that discomfort and let go of my sense of safety, of this bubble of Hawaii that I live in, where I'm surrounded by like-minded people who think similarly, who have a very high emotional intelligence and conscious awareness, and move into a place where it's extremely uncertain, where I'm going to be met with shadow parts of myself that may have not been yet reconciled. And for me, the theme of this whole year is revelation. Like this revelatory process that we are going through, so that we are going to be able to see that which we weren't able to see before. It's a aha, epiphany, a revelation of truth within us that sets us free and connects us more deeply to our Christ consciousness. And it's so beautiful, and it's uncomfortable simultaneously. And the more that we can face off with our fear, the more we realize how safe we actually are. It is our fear that controls the choices that we make and keep us stuck in these ever looping processes of victimization and powerlessness. And that's all going. It has to go. This is the year of revelation. All is being revealed to you, and you have to be willing to look. Otherwise, it gets extremely uncomfortable. And so when fear comes up, feel into that, notice it, recognize it, and maybe let yourself go into the discomfort of it without judging yourself, with having some gentleness, some compassion, some patience with that little one inside that's still holding on to some fears. This is the reclamation and the unlearning of eons of indoctrination and programming that we were instilled with so much fear that we were fed off of. Understand, your fear is what feeds the system. It feeds that which you complain about. It feeds that which you think has power over you. And when you cease to hold that fear in your body, you recognize that nothing could have power over you unless you abdicate your power to it. And how beautiful is that? And in that, we're defining and finding our divine inheritance. And let me tell you, when that vibration of divine inheritance, which is you beginning to embody your higher self and your divinity, starts to come pouring in, there is a celebration of beauty and prosperity and gratitude and appreciation that literally cracks open your heart, and everything that you have ever wanted or thought you wanted projected onto something out there, it opens up inside you like a lock and a key, and you open a door, and all of the flooding of your prosperity and your divine inheritance come pouring in, and you recognize how powerful you are. And this is part of this massive turning of this epoch of the forgetting and being under, these systems of control, and that we're breaking the bondage from within. We are rebirthing ourselves. I've seen that, Gaia, first of all, our planet, Mother Earth, is a sentient consciousness, and you might already know that at the deep seed of your being. A sentient consciousness that is in herself ascending to a higher state of conscious awareness. And you can think of this identified self like a seed inside her womb. And as this conception occurs, we are being gestated from inside Gaia's womb. There's this almost like sense that we have control over this process, and we actually don't. It's happening whether you want it to or not. So it's much easier if you just let go and let it happen, because it's glorious. And the more that goes, and the more that you trust and have faith in the present moment and what it's showing you, and stepping in to the unknown and allowing yourself not to have control, it's like you step into this grand adventure, the beautiful mystery of it all, and you're safe, and there's nothing to fear. And it's like all of this energy comes flooding back into you of the source of your divine self plugged back in through your umbilical cord into Gaia and into your divine source, your God source, your crystal clarity. And all of this knowing about the Christ consciousness that's coming through to so many. Some people still think it's a person out there, but Christ and the consciousness of Christ is coming through each one of us now. The Christed consciousness, the eyes with which to see through the eyes of compassion of God, that all things have been given birth from the source, from spiritualization into materialization. We are the source of life, and it's coming through us. And the love with which each one of us as fragments of source were born is absolutely magnificent and extraordinary. It's so beautiful. It's a homecoming that always makes me emotional because it's like the glory, the exaltedness of heaven coming to earth, and we are the seeds that are being planted to anchor that in. So for many people who have been on this path for a long time, this is our moment. This is it. And it's becoming so palpable that we are living and stabilizing in this place of what you call it, the fifth dimension or heaven on earth. And of course, somebody's weed eating as I'm saying this, right? So it's like, can we be with the distractions of this outer world and all the ways that these irritations pull at us, and yet still maintain an inner neutrality, a crystalline clear focus on what's coming through, being the eye of the storm. So when the chaos abounds all around, can we be seated in our sacred center, finding our peace, our stillness, our strength, and our silence within, and not letting ourselves get pulled out of that from anything that's happening out there, because there is a storm coming, and it's a necessary storm. Every time there's a turning of these epochs, a turning of the great wheel of time, it's like all of consciousness is coming together, and it's like it's knotted up. And that knotting, it creates a great deal of energy and emotion and purging of the old that's coming to the surface. And that knotting, it brings up all that wants to be brought to the surface to be cleared. And it will look like all of the darkness coming up to be seen, because it's when it's seen from the eyes of fearfulness, there's no fear, that's when it dissolves. It's like it hits the heart of the great mother who holds so much love and compassion for all life. And that love, when darkness hits, that kind of unconditional, the magnitude of love, which cannot be expressed in English words, it's a vibration. But that amount of love, as soon as darkness hits it, it is like annihilated back into the light in divine rapture. It is the rapture, and it annihilates everything that is of a lower vibration back into the source of light from which it came. And this is the precipice that we're on. This is the threshold that so many of us are crossing. And so many of us have been in the belly of the beast and the darkness and seen so much and felt so much and transmuted so much. And we've been warriors and we've been battling. And it's like, we get to take a deep breath. We get to take the breath of the universe. And we get to settle down into our peace and our calmness and our silence. And we get to hold and abide the light of the divine that we are now embodying as grace, and as this great turning, this great unraveling, this unknotting moves its way through the collective. We're anchoring it in with Mother Earth, her grid lines, her ley lines, the acupuncture points on our body that match the acupuncture points on Mama Gaia. And we're opening up to these infinite portals and levels and realms of awareness, these images, the imaging imagination that's creating these images that we're seeing within us of these fractals of light that are alive, that are sentient consciousness in and of themselves, that are awakening pieces and parts of us that are coming back into the oneness, into the synarchy, the one incarnated oversoul where we recognize that there is no separation and there is no separation in consciousness, and we begin to work as one for the same vision that we hold. And that's what's beginning to happen now. There's so much more to stay. We are rooting ourselves, remembering that we are the tree of life, where our roots go deep down. We feel the pulsing of Gaia through us. It's like we are being gestated in her womb. And as our cells are multiplying and dividing, it's affecting our physical bodies. Her light in her womb is shifting our vessels into crystalline clarity. These physical vessels that abide on earth were being rebirthed into a whole new different kind of human, into a light being. And simultaneously, the breath through this point at the top of your head, the point of 100,000 meetings, the seat of the soul, the place where we crown into this world. We're in this transition and the crowning is happening. And it's like the pressure of going through the birth canal, the contractions and the expansions. And we can feel that viscerally if we tune in. And even if we don't, it's so palpable, it's right there. It's right there. And what's needed is just the breath. As if you were giving birth, just breathe. Breathe in, breathe out, and let go and cease resisting what is. Breathe and don't resist. Let this process happen because it's glorious and it's bringing us to the new earth, which is heaven on earth. And you can sense it, touch it, taste it, feel it every time I'm in meditation. I'm in the new earth and it's more exquisite than you can fathom. It is, there's no word, there's no earthly world. It is a masterpiece of magnificence beyond your wildest imagination, and yet your imagination can begin to touch it, see it, taste it, feel it. The oneness and the unification with all consciousness, the recognition that you as a source being of God's love and all that you are creating in a materialized reality is an outpicturing of your level of consciousness. So whatever it is that you desire to create, I can swim and I can play with the dolphins. We can suckle, we can make love, we can swim through the water, we can breathe the water, I can become the mountain. I can see all of creation in a single drop of pristine water that holds every color of the spectrum and is alive and is teaching me, is hydrating me, is bringing new life to every cell of this being. It is beyond your wildest imagination. A leaf on a tree, and you look at it and it turns to these beautiful spiraling fractals of light. There is such aliveness in the microcosm and the macrocosm, and it is seen and it is felt as self. I know that this feels so big and vast and that a lot of people won't intellectually get it because it's not part of the mind. There is a sensorial experience that awakens within the DNA of the cells where you experience yourself as all of consciousness, as God consciousness, giving birth to everything and having the exact experience of all things that you have given birth to out of the unconditional love that is flooding out of you. The Holy Grail is what you are. We are the holy grail, and we are drinking of the divine nectar of remembrance now. And it is profound. And it is the most ecstatic thing I have ever experienced as far as the memories that I've had so far. It's ecstatic. And the sheer building of the excitement for what is happening. I can feel it and how it ripples out to the far ends of the universe, the multiverse. This is affecting every consciousness, what we're doing, and it's shifting and changing the experience of reality throughout the cosmos. Everything is changing in the most glorious, magnificent, stunningly beautiful of ways. So I'm going to pause there and leave more of some of the details that I want to go into for the next video. I know it's loud. The whacking of the weeds. We're pulling out the weeds. We're pulling out the distractions. We're pulling out all of the things that irritate us. And so maybe as you're listening to that, if that sound is irritating you, it's like, how can I center myself even when the things around me are really irritating me, and find the peace within the chaos? Because this is going to be the calling of many of the star seeds of the first wavers, of the second wavers, of the newly awakening ones. We need to be solid and stabilized so that we can guide and that we can hold the vibration of this great shift as it intensifies, because it is intensifying this year and next year as well. So whenever you see anything that's going on in the outer world, how much open-hearted compassion can you have for the circumstances of a perceived other, and open your heart to return all non-love with love. I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you so much. Whoever hears this, it is divinely aligned, inspired, opening up your cells and your DNA to the recognition of who you are. I love you. Thank you. I am you.